Let's go.
AITA for not telling my fiancé that my late partner was a man. I, 29M, lost my fiancé 4 years ago in a car accident. He and I were both 25 at the time and had been together since we were 19. If soulmates are real, he was mine. He was stubborn, he preferred a way earlier bedtime than I did, and was a major homebody, and I loved all of it. He would stay up with me until he was sure I fell asleep, and weekly movie theater outings, planned by him, became a thing like a month into us meeting. I am a fundamentally different person both because I met him and because of my grief. I was shown what real love and effort and care feels like. I also don't talk about him. I go to therapy once a week, otherwise it's silence on that topic from me. He lives on in me in the ways I try to emulate him. I practice the patience he had that I always struggled to find. I go after career-related opportunities that scare me because I know he would encourage me to. Sometimes I let myself stay in bed because I know he'd be gentle with me, and let me do that too. But I don't talk about him, and I probably never will. I'll make the occasional, "Oh, X would have loved this" comment when I'm with friends who knew him well. With strangers, nothing. My friends and family respect that as well. I'm engaged again. My fiancée, 31F, obviously knows I was engaged before. I pretty much told her, my last partner passed away and I don't talk about it. I don't use social media in really any capacity anymore, but she happened to stumble upon an old Instagram profile of mine recently and saw him heavily featured. This led to her accusing me of purposefully keeping this from her. I don't really see why his gender matters, and I told her so. She said I've broken her trust. Times like these are when I long for the life I was living before. But grief fucked up my brain, so I'm not sure if I'm being insensitive. Edit. She knew I am bisexual. The only thing she didn't know was that my fiancé was a man. Comments. Elk Widow Mom. Here's my perspective as a widow. You need to talk to your therapist about this, not Reddit. Most people have no idea what it's like to lose so much and just how much that loss shapes you. But also, it's concerning to me that he sounds like such a big part of your internal life, but you've never even mentioned him with your current partner. Before you get married, you need to dig into why you've compartmentalized this to such an intense degree. Why are you hiding him? What are you afraid of? If I'm being generous, I think seeing that your late fiancé was a man shocked your fiancé into realizing that she knows absolutely nothing about this major part of you. Rick likes burritos. This is what I thought of. OP's current fiancé may be concerned that she doesn't know who she's marrying, which could be fair because it sounds like OP may not know who he is, right? Let's see, now. Good stuff to work through. And furthermore, that's spot on. It's not just about the past, but how it shapes the present. Understanding that is crucial for both OP and his fiancée. Comfortable Focus 123. Based on how you describe your relationship with your ex and failed to say anything about your current fiancée, I am not certain you are ready to be married to her, or anyone for that matter, right now. You still seem to be in your past relationship more than your current one. Perhaps some counseling will help you move into a better place. Horshack_test. They also group their current fiancé with strangers when it comes to talking about his previous partner engagement and said, I long for the life I was living before. Impassionate God 001, this. The new fiancé is nothing but a stranger who doesn't deserve to know about his previous partner. Yes, I'll call that a betrayal, and if she were my friend, I wouldn't recommend her to get married to OP. Asterisk, asterisk, no judgment. But most commentators thought the real issue was that he wasn't over his late partner asterisk, asterisk. Update 2 days later. I figured I'd go ahead and post an update before I return to my all-lurk, no-post comment Reddit life. Yesterday, I had an emergency therapy session because I was spiraling and didn't feel prepared to tackle the upcoming conversation with my fiancé without one. It was hard but necessary as I was finally honest about just how much I was compartmentalizing my grief. It laid the foundation for where I'd like to go moving forward. Now I have to put in the legwork. The few hours between my therapy appointment and my fiancé getting off work was evidence of just how avoidant I've become. It was a conversation we needed, but definitely not one I wanted. When we finally sat down to talk, I asked her to start us off by telling me exactly what was bothering her about the whole situation. She said because I had come out to her in a casual way, the way I come out to anyone, by mentioning it early on when it seems natural to bring up, she didn't realize how serious I was, and this made her look at me differently. She apologized for that and suggested that if I told her more about him now, it might be an easier pill for her to swallow. I tried, but there was this knot in my stomach the entire time I tried to pick a place to start. And maybe this is me being cruel, not giving her the benefit of the doubt, but it just didn't feel right. She hadn't come and said, I was shocked because I realized how little I know about this time in your life. Would you be open to talking about it now? Instead, it felt like, tell me what you saw in him so I can attempt to rationalize your orientation. I told her I needed some time, so she went to stay elsewhere for the weekend. A longtime good friend of mine came over this morning. I think the combination of anonymously talking more openly about my partner here as well as being more open with my therapist helped remind me of how joyous and cathartic it could be. I don't know the exact catalyst, but I do know I spilled my guts. We talked for hours about things I haven't told anyone in years. I expressed how nervous I was about possibly living alone again, and I was told that I didn't ever have to worry about that an SOS text message would be all it took for me to have company if I needed it. Same goes for all my friends and family. I'm so lucky I have an incredible support system. 5 minutes into that hours-long conversation, I already knew the trust, security, and love I felt made room for this newfound openness. The absence of any one of those marks a relationship, DOA, and is why I felt physically ill trying to share his memory with her. I truly wish her the best. I think going our separate ways will be good for both of us. We weren't getting what we needed from each other. She's supposed to be coming back tomorrow, so we'll have the talk then. I have lots of work to do, but for tonight, I get to be reminded of what safety feels like. Edit. Please see this comment where I elaborate on the conversation she and I had. There seems to be this misunderstanding where I blame her for everything because she didn't perfectly respond to the situation. Two things can be true. I wasn't open. I am largely accountable for the problems in this relationship, and I never should have entered it if I wasn't ready. She also said ignorant things. I'm not angry about it, and it's certainly not the sole reason we're breaking up. It's just another reason on the pile of reasons why this isn't sustainable. Me, still not feeling comfortable enough to share with her me blaming her for everything, or even the majority. It was just the final nail in the coffin between maybe we can make this work with a lot of effort, and this needs to end now. Comments. Danicaps fan. It sounds as if you are not completely over the death of your fiancé. I hope someday you are able to love again, but that day has clearly not come yet. Exciting _ I 1437. I could even tell that from his original post from the paragraphs he spent talking about the original fiancé in great loving detail and how he talks more about not wanting to be alone more than losing his new fiancé. He doesn't seem to love the new fiancé wavering wish. We still don't know anything about her personality either. Lurky Turkey 113, right? The only thing we have is his admitted judgmental interpretation of something he has, twisted that he has said, as well as his playing the victim acting like she's not a safe person, without a single description of why. Infamous Cup 7097. You can do as you like, but I also don't think you gave room for her feelings. You assumed how she felt about your orientation instead of considering concerns she may have about her not. being what you want to because she is not male and also not the former love of your life. Marriage is a big deal for both parties involved. In your previous post, it seemed like you already decided she wasn't going to be accepting, so you just didn't want to tell her. This post, you make assumptions about her not being accepting when from an outsider's POV it just seems like she's trying to understand probably multiple things like why you didn't tell her before now, if you don't trust her, if you will be okay being monogamous with her as a female and being happy for the long run. Those are all valid concerns even heterosexual relationships have, especially after their partner sits them down and makes a big deal out of any conversation they deem scary. I do think you are not compatible at this point, but I think part of it is because you are not ready to move on, and part of it is because of how you handled this situation. Laying the blame solely on her isn't really reality. Sorry. Asterisk new updates. Update 7 months later. A quick TLDR. My, at the time, fiancée found out I was previously engaged to a man. She had a very negative reaction despite already knowing I was bisexual. I ultimately decided to end the engagement. I felt unsupported, distrustful of her, and I didn't want to be in a relationship with someone who discredited and disregarded my sexuality. It's been 7 months. It feels like a lifetime ago. I was still in such a fog back then. I'm not sure if this update is even allowed since the issue has technically already been resolved. The question was AITA for not telling her about my late partner's gender, and now that relationship is over. The conflict doesn't exist anymore. She and I haven't spoken, and I don't ever want to again. That entire relationship was a huge mistake from start to finish. I just wanted to drop in and say I'm seeing someone. We've been officially dating for about a month. He knew me from before my partner passed, and I feel like I'm slowly making progress in finding that person again. I spent a long time trying to emulate my late partner as a way of honoring him. I respect and love him so much, present tense, and I wanted to encapsulate the way he was. My boyfriend likes to remind me that he wouldn't want me to be him. He would want me to be me. That's been so helpful, along with lots of therapy. And the national emergency mentioned at the end of this post, order has been restored, the troops can stand down, etc. Edit. I received a ton of understanding and compassionate comments that helped me a lot after my story was posted on the Best of Redditor Updates subreddit. It made me feel comfortable and hope that posting here again would be welcomed and give people a conclusion to the journey. It also made me feel less crazy since I was receiving a litany of ignorant comments relating to my sexuality. Unfortunately, this sub's primary response remains the same. I can't do biphobia. Round 3 again. It was rough enough the first 2 times. I'm not a glutton for punishment. Comments are mixed on OOP's actions. Logic bully. I spent a long time trying to emulate my late partner as a way of honoring him. I respect and love him so much, present tense, and I wanted to encapsulate the way he was. Does your current partner fully understand this? OP. Yes. My current partner has known me and knew my late partner for a long time. He's the friend I mentioned in my first update. He fully understands the journey I've been on because he's been right there with me for most of it. Our relationship was platonic, but has now blossomed into something really beautiful and healing. Y2 Flax. So being honest with one partner and not the other somehow doesn't make you the AH in your own mind. Wow. Silver_stretch_ 5491. Art room again. OP. I'm familiar with the post. It's about a man who leaves his wife for a man, right? What does that have to do with me? I was single for months before I started a new relationship. I was also single for years prior to starting a relationship with my ex-fiancée. I never left anyone for someone else. I was open with my ex about my sexuality from the very beginning. What's the overlap here? That I also like